Hi, it's Tuesday, still on vacation, and well, I didn't really film anything yesterday, and I don't know, I'm one of those, this whole filming stuff is something I do, something I don't, and I don't know, it's just, I get in that mindset, I just want to work, I don't want to film, and then you always have to set up stuff, and to be honest, I don't really care for it. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing here. But this morning, I had a surplus of eggs, and probably had 60 eggs sitting, over 60 eggs. So I figured, you know what, well, I gotta use them, and I eat them, you know. I can usually have about 5 a day, but it kind of caught up to me, and I figured one of the things I always wanted to do was make pickled eggs, so it's exactly what I did this morning. So I got 3 7 jars here. Yeah, they're all a little bit different actually. I got red onion, white onion, still what I had left over from last season, and then there's a bit of dill in there. Some of them have spice, some of them have, I think this one you can see there's basil. The one I put a beet in there, and one's got cilantro, a little bit from everything. So that was that was this morning. I never made pickled eggs before, and it's one of those things. You have 5 chickens. How many eggs do you really need? And I say, well, you know what? They don't lay all that much in the winter, so you got to store them somehow if you want eggs throughout the year. And I thought that was my thinking. Albeit I can almost keep up with them as it is. And I have to think about why I got one chicken in there. She's not doing nothing. But I digress. You know, I see how this goes, and never had pickled eggs before either. So right now I want to. Well, I maybe should highlight yesterday's project. I spent most of the day, I guess, in my parents' shop, because over there I have all my metal equipment. So I have a lathe and a mill out there, and that's where I was doing all my metal work. So this was a piece of plate steel. I took it to the lathe. Well, I guess I punched a 1/2-inch hole in there, took it to the lathe, and then turned this. I basically just rough cut to the size that I needed. Took it to the lathe, turned it down to size so that it was the same as this plate. And then I put 1 notch in there, because you only need actually 1 notch. I don't know why there's 3 in there. And then I did some math, found where the holes should go, and punched those through. Now I'm gonna bring it back, and I think I'm gonna turn these into 3/8 as well, or maybe turn some of these 3/8 into 1/2 inch. I want more surface area in here. I want this to be bigger. This area here needs to be left flat. Just like this one. I'm just copying this basically, and then leaving that bit of ring around the end, and that just that goes in the front there. This is all in trying to make a better biochar. I'm trying to find a way to crush it nicely, so I will be modifying this one. And then the other piece that I turned was this. So I found an old piece of round stock on the lathe itself, and like, oh, perfect, I'm going to use that. So I just clean the surface. Yeah, it's a bit of a rough edge. I don't have I probably need to put a better, cutter in there. And then I took a boring bar to the inside of it, reamed it to the diameter of it, and so that it actually just there's no backing plate to it, but it just fits on there now, he says. But there's also this thing had a slot in it, and you can see somebody had put a piece in there, but this now just fits on top over. And then I milled a flat on there, then drilled and tapped a hole for this. I found an M8 machine thread, so that just acts as the set screw, and then I took it to the lathe again, and then just slotted a hole in the back there, and that you can just shove the screw on there, and that holds it captive to the shaft so it doesn't come off, which is, yeah, nice that it was already threaded in there. Now the idea with this is to be the go-between. I was thinking about originally making a pulley around it out of wood, and I think I could just use like an epoxy to glue it. I left enough space between there is for 3/4 wood. But the other day I also found a sprocket, which would make like you could put a chain on there. So I'm thinking about a way of, because I do have a way of, I guess, mounting it to the back of it. Maybe I have to make like some like pins in there or something, something along those lines to attach the sprocket to the outside is one idea. And if I wanted to turn to a pulley, I could still do that. But the idea is to run this off of either a motor, or I want to convert to pedal power, which would be nice. So yeah, I'll probably be taking both these things back with me to modify. This one just to see if I can put that sprocket on there, because that would be really nice. And always put your screws back where you found them, otherwise you'll lose them. And then outside of that, I also, my father, he went to the welding shop the other day and asked him, well, if you're going to go there, then ask around if they have a piece of sheet metal, minimum 24 by 24. So yeah, he actually brought back them a piece there. He picked me up a piece, and then it's 24 by 40. So the idea is I want to score the edges about 3 inches in all around. I don't know if I'm going to use a full 40-inch on that's a pretty wide pan, but that's the pan for the wax. And if I can score those edges, cut the notches out, and basically cut the notches out and then fold it like a box, and then they can just be welded all the way around, and you basically then you have yourself a pan, and that pan is for the to make wax foundation for these beehives. And because right now I don't have sheets big enough to fit the full frames of the type of high frame that I use in these Zuten frames. So that's I'd like to do that today. If I'm going to do that, I think my brother, he's back now. He's the resident welder, so I might bring over the wagon. I got that jack, or I guess stabilizer jack that I want to weld on there, get welded on there to whatchamacallit, yeah, to actually stabilize it. And right now I'm just finishing up this project here. This is the seed cleaner. I couldn't finish it yesterday because I didn't have a piece. I need one more piece of wood from there to down here, and that's what this one will be. And yeah, you can see that I just joined them two together. So I glued them yesterday. I had them clamped, and I just ran them through the planer. That's why it's got a flush edge on there. And yeah, I got sooty hands. It's always dealing with charcoal. But I'm going to get that cut. I'm just going to put them in there. And then I think it's really just kind of put the base on there, put the plexiglass on there. And then this project is completed. So I'm just trying to wrap a few things up and kind of go from there. But yeah, I don't know. I still have a list of things I'd like to get done, but it's always what takes precedence, what's important, and what can be done at the present moment. So I'll go wrap this one up, and I should be able to wrap up, and then I'll have a seed cleaner, which is kind of nice. That'll make things a lot easier next year. So progress is being made. I kind of see the home stretch. So the piece has been put in there. It's glued and nailed in there. So I guess now is you can pretty well stand them up. The vacuum hose goes in there. The seed gets dropped in there. So there's a vacuum that's getting pulled into this chamber. So as the seed drops, the seed is heavier, and that should go down there. And the chaff should be pulled up through here and drops down into here. That will be like a chute that should be able to be open and closed. And the seed should drop down there. So it should be straddling 2 5-gallon buckets. It's kind of the idea I have right now. I'll probably put this all on. I just made this base for it. And because I thought, well, if I'm going to make it nice, then might as well, I gave it a Roman edge. But it's going to sit on top of that. I'll make a little, I guess I'll have to cut a square out for the seed drop. And then I'll have to cut a square out for the chaff drop. And I'll just do that, make it the same size as this. And I think then from the very bottom I could have, you know, something like a magnet on the bottom here or something that it can fit into. And then so that I can open and close it at will. And then once that is stapled to that, or I guess nailed to it, then I will be able to get that placed over top. And then I'll just carefully drill and screw that one to that, and I'll probably just be ending up using the little wafer head screws. So yeah, that's where it is right now. It's coming along. And then I guess last thing, probably maybe do a little bit of a sanding, and then yeah, I'm not sure, maybe give it some oil, but we'll see where that goes. Alright, now I say I'm on the home stretch. So the base is on. Here's let's see. So I got the holes cut in there. It's centered, or ish. I mean, it is centered. It's stapled on there. And now I'm just going to make sure the inside is clean. Make sure that it's kind of, you know, go over it once, because once the plexiglass is on there, it should be done. Don't know if I have to seal it, anything, like just go around there. It's nice if you can get it sealed, but I'll probably go with like a hot glue gun, and I don't know. Actually that seal doesn't matter. There's no vacuum in there, but might go around the edges or something. But I don't think that's necessary. It's not airtight. Actually, it's not airtight. That's going to be open. The only other thing is I'm going to, let's see, go on the bottom here. And then what I'd like to do is just go with probably 2 magnets, maybe on the long side, one in here, or probably maybe here and there. Just take the little Forstner bit, size of the magnet, put it in there, get some epoxy, and then just put 2 neodymiums. Sounds like a race of aliens. Either way, put 2 of those in there, and then have a little metal plate. And then, it's just easy on off, and it's it just slides in there. And yeah, then that should be it for this. Yeah, just peel one side of the. I guess I take the cover off the plexi, lay it on top, and then drill that in there. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna seal it. I feel like if I want to take it off, I would like the ability to be able to take it off if, I don't know, it needs cleaning over time or whatever have you. But if you were to, I don't even know what I would glue it in place with, to be honest. Bet you even like a bead of that Elmer's would work, but I don't have that either, so. I don't know, it's coming together, and then we'll be able to shove some seed down there. So I'll go get some magnets and get those in there. Alright, so this project is 98% done. I just need to make 2 pieces of metal and then maybe sand the edges. So here it is right now. It's got, I just put the plexiglass on there. Or plexiglass, I'm not sure what it actually is nowadays. But yeah, I just got the screws in there. And a little bit proud over there, but so yeah, the only other thing I added was, as you can see, this hole in the back. In that hole, there are 3 magnets there. I'm gonna make a piece of metal or something, and I can just hit on the side. Okay, I got for demonstration purposes only. But so if you would have a metal disc there, then you could move it wherever you want, and it's still kind of stuck on there to kind of mess with how much airflow is going in there. So you can adjust the vacuum that is being drawn in there. And then the only other metal plate I have to do is on the bottom here. And so I just put, these are those are actually just friction fit, and these could actually have been done that too, but I put up some epoxy behind there. And these should just be riding flush with the wood, and I can put a plate in there, and that's just to seal off the bottom so that the vacuum draws this way. And yeah, so far so good. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I might give it a rough sanding around the edge. I don't know how that works with plexiglass, but we can see. And I just noticed, but the daylily bloomed, so that was nice. So yeah, I think probably wrap this up, and I'll be going back over to the farm, do a little bit more metal work because that's all set up there, and then yeah, maybe modify the char grinder attachment, find maybe some metal for this, and I can work on the wax pan to bring the trailer over, get that prepped for welding, and go from there. Alright, so I'm on the farm, and I'm just drilling. So I got the outer holes now drilled to 3/8 as well, and I'm thinking about just putting those now there as well. And I held off on that because I didn't know if the spacing was good enough, but it seems to do fine. And it also gives me a chance to test out these bits. I bought a bunch of bits. They were all in a bucket a long time ago, using a 1/2 inch, but they were all tossed, just got them at a yard sale, all dull and whatnot, old bits. But yeah, take them to the bench grinder, and hey, it makes chips, so I'm happy with that. And finally getting to use this old whatchamacallit, drill press. Bought this a long time ago with a good story attached to it. And so yeah, here's the old South Bend. Again, I got this a long time ago. And an old Canadian milling machine. Unique piece. Again, all this stuff all comes with an interesting story. But yeah, there's I used to do a lot more metalworking back in the day. I kind of moved more towards wood now. Yeah, kind of the more natural side of things. And but you know, I think there's still a small place in my heart for all this stuff. So I'm just gonna keep chipping away at this one, and then might move on to the lathe to do a little bit more work on the auger shaft adapter for the charcoal grinder. Alright, so you got a little more surface area in here. So I all these were bumped up to 3/8 from 13/64, and all the outer 3/8 that were in, I guess, that pattern were bumped up to 1/2 inch, minus this one, and that's just because I think the clearance on that tab would have been a little bit cheeky, and I'd sooner not do that. I know this space looks like, yeah, I could put holes there, but there's nothing can go through there anyways, because that's where the knives and the auger sit behind. So I think this is as much surface area as I can get out. For the most part, I'm very happy with it. There's just one, yeah, you can see that one got cheeky. So that's just on me, I guess, when, you know, this is, because I'm not taken from a template. This was all drawn on here. This was all just done by hand. So yeah, that's why it's not 100% symmetrical, but considering how close it was, I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, this plate, I'm going to consider it done. And then I'm going to move on to this piece here. And I'd like to take this to the lathe. I want to draw down so that I can sit this on here, and that there will be a shoulder left in the middle, so that when this can line up to it. Now I don't want to go all the way through so that this is flush, because there is not a whole ton of clearance. I mean, there's enough clearance in there that I could make it flush, but the idea is just enough to center it on there. And I'm thinking about taking, when this is on here, what I'm thinking about doing is maybe put either 3 holes, taps in there that would go through, because I do have clearance on this side and a good bit in the back, to then be able to screw 3 screws in here, and that's how I would attach it. It's like, why don't you just weld it to it? Now that is an option, but if I wanted to, here's the thing, I weld it, which I don't like having permanent fixtures. I prefer stuff that's removable, but that also eliminates any idea to put a pulley on here. So, and I'd like to leave that option on here. The idea with this is I can, instead of having a pulley right now and can have a sprocket, pulleys have the advantage that pulleys can slip, so you're not destroying stuff if something is too hard on the auger, while chains, have more power, but yeah, you can break a whole lot more stuff with chains. Not that I'm terribly concerned about that. because I think when that whole auger system is in there, the worst that can really happen, I don't know, it just, like, because I'm breaking up char, but it's more like if something gets in the char, that's why I would rather have a pulley, because pulleys, yeah, will slip. They're driven by friction instead of a sprocket is mechanical force, and that has to, something has to snap for that motion to be stopped. So we'll figure that one out. That's why I want to have this more temporary, and then it could serve a dual function where I could use it as a sprocket, and I would like to also have a pulley on there, so you could do both modes, or you could use this as the mounting plate to the pulley. I'm still leaning towards the pulley. I prefer that, but I'm wondering if pulley is even the right term. I have to look into that. Alrighty, I moved on to a different project. I forego the lathe for now. I'm thinking that adapter, I don't need to inset nothing. I don't even think I'm going to put the sprocket on there. I think I'll just make an actual pulley for it, and I'll just epoxy it to it. And if it breaks, then you just clean the wood off. That's the way I'm going to go. I think that should be strong enough. If something is enough force to break that, I got different problems. But I got a different project right now. This is the wax pan. This thing's 24 by 40, so I'm taking off. I'm making it 27 by 18, the final piece with 3-inch walls, and the idea is that it'll fit the whole stove. So I just got to go get this cut out. Okay, so that one is cut, and it's not bad. Not perfect, but yeah, by hand, what you're gonna do. So the next thing to do is to notch each corner out, 3 by 3, and that will give me 3 by 3, and then draw a line to the sides, score that line with the grinder, and then I will fold it on that line, and then the welt will go on the inside and up the corners there. So that's the idea. Quick update, everything was, in that time I scribed it, marked it out, cut the corners, and scored the whole thing. So now I'm just, I already folded the one edge here, so it's turning out pretty decent. Just using a pair of channel locks to get the leverage on there. The cut itself isn't quite wide enough actually to go fully 90, it would seem, so I can get them up to like there, and then I just, as I went here, I cut on the inside to be able to relieve enough material to complete that 90 bend. So I'm just going to go around, do the other 4 corners, see how they line up, and then my brother's actually out picking up gas now for the welder. You need to do that anyway, so I'm gonna get this prepped for welding, and get that one as well for the wagon. So just keep plugging away at this. All right, the pan is ready to be welded up, and so is that drop down leg. Just scuffed up the area, cleaned the metal, so it's all ready for welding. I'm fairly happy with how it turned out. So 95% happy. I broke through on this side, so it is loose, so just have to kind of hold it, tack it, and then yeah, it gets a little finicky with this thin metal on welding, but we'll see how that works. We'll have to build it up a little bit there, but it's just that corner. The rest of it, you know, it folded around nicely, so it's there, and it's actually I didn't measure it, but let's see if I'm on. Well, just shy of 18. Okay, that works. Yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. A 16 to account for the actual metal. So I didn't take that into account, but it doesn't really matter. It'll fit the foundation. There's enough space in there. I have to figure out what I do with this film on here. I should remove that somehow. I can bring it to work. I could bring it to work and then have acid wash it there, and then it will be just bare metal. And the outside, I would like to. It would be nice paint or something, some sort of heat-resistant paint. And then the inside, I will probably just keep bare and then coat it with wax, because that is what's going to be. This is going to be a dedicated wax pan. So, yeah, would it be nice to have done stainless? Of course, but then you're paying a lot more for that stuff. And I didn't care for that. Figured this would work just fine, and go from there. Yeah, I wonder what it would have actually been if it was stainless, but hinge and mild steel, it works just fine. Well, I think it'll work just fine. I don't see a problem with it. I didn't want to use aluminum. I have aluminum, but I don't know. That seems a little sketchy to me. To me, melting something in aluminum, and then I didn't want that to contaminate in any way with the wax. Iron, I don't see that being much of a contamination, but aluminum seems worse off. But we'll see. See how this turns out. Alright, so back home, got things wrapped up, and I need to solve an issue with the mower. A different issue. I got a so the hydraulic fluid oil in here, it's measured here, so that's the level of it, and that's, you know, it should always be between here, and then you know it's full. Problem is this hose is cracked, and as you can see, this is a little bit further away than it should be, so I need to replace it. It's cracked. I don't even know if I haven't even seen it myself. I don't know if it picks up on camera or not, but it's split over there. I can feel it, and I can see it. Like, I've never had this much oil come out, and so I got to get that replaced. Now I don't know what kind of a horsing this is, so I'm gonna pull that, and then I'm gonna cap it with either this. That's gonna get sketchy. Or I shove this hose on there and try to get the clamp on there. Or bearing that, I will just electrical tape it. Kind of put it on and then see if that works. I got 3 options. Or a bunch of oil on the floor. One of them's bound to work. That's all I'm saying. Alright, well, I replaced it with this, and that one seemed to work. It fits actually quite nice, and it's almost contemplate whether I should just use this instead of getting a new, it was kind of like a fuel line here. Only thing is that hosing is too big to fit through those holes, and otherwise, and I'm still a little skeptical on this one. I think it's good though. But the thing is then, it also doesn't fit this little, that's what actually sat between the two clamp, or the two holes there. So this plastic tubing sat in here that should measure, and that was just inside the hose there. But I got more of this tubing, and I bet you I could just jimmy something together, but I'm also not sure if that stuff is, properly rated for oil. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't be, but I just don't want to, fuel line is made for aggressive. I'm not saying that oil is that aggressive, but I don't know. At least it's not spilling all over the floor. It's fun to take off though, because you take that off, and then I had to put my finger on there, and I tried to had to take the clamp with one hand and put on the hose, but that was a bugger with the pliers I have, so I had to use, I plugged it with my toe, and then I could actually use two hands to get the clamp on there, because it's the pliers there, they didn't stretch quite nice enough. So it was a fun time. So, but it's there now, and at least I got a measurement for a line to get. Alright, so I'm gonna probably be winding things up for the day right now. It's a little past 8:15 there. Time flies. So just looking at the dust pattern there. Looks odd. I got the seat cleaner. You know what? It's actually done. And I think I popped this one. I showed this one before, but yeah, this one was upgraded, so that's ready for the grinder there. And I still figure out what I do with this one. I'm on the fence about it, but I'm thinking about I'll just go make a pulley, and just glue it on. I think that's the route I'm going to take, because it's easy and it just works. I think it just works, especially because it's rough enough that it'll accept the glue in there. The seat cleaner is done as well, so the last thing I added, as you can see, the hole is now blocked. I have this plate in the back here, and I can just slide it wherever I want. It's very adjustable with the 3 magnets that I have, like that and that, and why that shape? Because it's easy to cut a square and to grind the corners, so that's why. It was just easy. I had the cut off from that wax pan. I used it there, and the same thing for the plate here. It's just a piece of metal with a little tab on the back, just so it's easier to pull off and on. But yeah, they're the magnets, and this one just sticks on there. And that's all it needs to do, and then you can just slide it and put it back. So I think that's simple enough, and it's not going to sit flush on the floor now, but it's not meant to do that. There should be a bucket under there, so that's why I can. And it wouldn't sit flush anyways, because it's sitting a 16th up anyways. So that's why I did that. So I think this thing is ready to have a test run at some point. And what's nice about this hole, what I realize, is I can put a canning funnel on there, so it fits. And see what I can knock off the list. But I got other stuff ready to be done, so kind of setting some balls in motion, and I guess pins in motion, to use a bowling metaphor, and go from there. But I'm curious to see how this one was gonna perform, and if it don't, at least it's a neat little mantelpiece. I'm happy with how it turned out. There's the little details like that. I'm quite content with it. It's a little piece of art in the end of the day. So thing, and one last thing is these were all drill bits. I just went through them all, and so yeah, this is what the guy sold at the auction. So dull drill bits. I'll tell you what, just some decent steel in there. But yeah, some of them are, the shanks are so worn that there's no number on there, so I'll have to take a caliber to it. And some of them, yeah, you can still read them. Hey, that's not fair. Okay, I'll just read it for you. 23/64. 23/60. I think I have that in there. Why is it not in there? Oh, okay, I'll go look at that. Either way, there's a lot of odd sizes in there. You know, like 11/64, 25/64. I guess 23/64. I think I have a 21 in there, but I don't even. I have to get something like a bigger drill bit collection at some point. Even just an empty box. I guess I could make one, but ideally I'd have one that has 64 slots in there ish. I don't know if you would deal with a 1/64 drill bit, but I would use a 2/64. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it off there for today, and just learn something, I guess. So yeah, if you watched this far, thanks for watching, and take care.